Every life is meant for living. Every song is to be sung. Every gift is meant for giving. It's the same for everyone. For the world was built by dreamers, those who dream, and so it seems that this world was made for dreaming. If we just wake up and dream. You can wait a lonely lifetime for an ark upon your door. Ships are safe inside the harbor, but is that what ships are? For all the world was built by dreamers. Dreams are real, and so it seems that this world was made for dreaming. If we just wake up and dream. There's a time for every person. There's a place for everything. From every situation, what we take is what we bring. Now you can wait a lonely lifetime for an ark upon your door. Ships are safe inside the harbor, but is that what ships are? For all the world was built by dreamers. Dreams are real, and so it seems that this world was made for dreaming. If we just wake up and dream. All the world was made for dreaming. Can't we just wake up and dream?
I left home so long ago now that I would not recognize my own face. I constructed the boat of my life, and I set out into the open sea, waving to all who knew that the seas would give me everything I could handle and everything I could not. And yet they waved, and I set out into the open sea in the boat of my life, built from soul, crafted by heart, and with great innocence I pushed off into the open sea, and have been away from my home so long now that I would not recognize my own face. But I know that home remembers me. Welcome back. Nice to have you here for the final session of today's program. We'll be back here in this same place again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, whatever time that is where you are, to talk more about the application of the principles found in the Conversations with God books and how that can be applied to your everyday life. We begin this afternoon session with a visit with Monica. Hello, Monica. How may I serve you?
Hi, Neil. Very nice to see you. I'm very blessed to be here. I'm a little bit nervous. I fell in love with God since I started reading your books. I really fell in love with him. And when I was reading the book, Awaken the Species, and he gave me the invitation, I said, of course, yes. But when I was seeing the 7 principles and how to be a HEB, I felt so little, so imperfect. And I said, God, this is what I have for you. This is what I am. This is what I'm trying to do. But talking about relationships, I don't know why I am so hard with myself, not with others, but with myself, with my imperfections, with my mistakes. And I know that if I want to start a relationship with someone, I need to be in peace with myself. I need to recognize that I'm a daughter of God. But it's so difficult. I feel so small. And I just wonder why it's always so difficult to be compassionate with ourselves than with others.
I wanted to ask you to repeat one thing you said, Monica. You said, whenever I think about starting a relationship with another, I have to recognize that I'm not what? Do you recall what you said?
That I'm little, that I need to recognize myself as a daughter of God. And I don't see it. I remember your words in your book when you were saying, yes, I know you told me that I'm the son of God, but I don't believe it yet, or I haven't practiced it yet in life. So I am struggling in that part in my life right now.
Okay, well, start practicing that you are the daughter of God, that you are a part of God. Just start practicing that.
How?
Do you know how to do that?
No.
Okay, with each person you see, are you living by yourself or are you living with another human being?
By myself.
Okay, so do you ever in your life have the opportunity to, where do you live?
In Ohio.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You don't live in Cleveland, do you?
Near Strongsville.
Okay, but not actually in Cleveland.
No.
Oh, good. Thank God. Okay, so because they have the worst football team in the world.
They do. But I'm not from Ohio. I'm from Mexico.
Yeah. Oh, well, that absolves you of any responsibility for the Cleveland football team. Okay, sweetheart. Do you have an opportunity in your life to interact with other people in any way?
Yes.
I saw you writing down what I told you to memorize, right? I saw you do that. You can't get away with anything because I saw you doing that. So what I want you to do is to memorize that and then use it. Don't just memorize it, but actually use it as a tool for the next 60 days. Every time you encounter someone or think that you may be meeting someone on the internet, on the telephone, even maybe in person, every time that you think that you may be interacting with another, I want you to think to yourself. Can you say it to me? Would you read it to me now so I can hear it in your own voice? Okay, be serious and say it as if you mean it. Say it to me. Say it to me, Neil.
Can I say it with my heart?
Yes.
And I'm sorry that I don't say it aloud, but I know that God is listening too, so I feel a little bit shy.
What she is saying, folks, what she just said to me was, I come that you may have life and that you may have it more abundantly. Your life will be made better because I passed through it this day. I promise you. Monica, if you say that and memorize it and say it before you have any interaction with another person for the next 60 days, you will never feel small again. You will never feel not a part of God. You will never feel reluctant or nervous or shy about even exploring a relationship with another, because you will know the reason to even have a relationship. You will have understood and personalized, not just understood, but actually made it real inside of you, the reason to even have a relationship with another. And once you are on the right track, that is, once you decide why you would even have a relationship with any other person or any other living creature, a dog, a cat, a goldfish, I mean, whatever it might be. Once you are clear why you would enter into or even begin to think about forming a meaningful relationship with another, once you're clear about that, all of your nervousness, all of your ideas that you're small, you're not a part of God, all the rest that you just said to me will disappear. This is a 60-day formula that can change your life because it's spiritually daring, because it's spiritually transformative, because this formula is a declaration of great spiritual courage. It's a declaration that says, I, Neil, you, Monica, we are stepping into the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever we held about who we are. Finally, Monica knows why she's here, why she's on the earth. And she is very clear about that. And all of your nervousness about relationship will go away almost overnight. You'll just wake up one day and realize, oh, I see. But be careful, Monica, be careful. Because if you act this way, if you really behave this way, if you act as if the words you spoke in your mind are true, and if you act that way with everybody whose life you touch, you won't know what to do with all the people who yearn to have a relationship with you. I'm serious. Because it's love and the expression of divinity at the level of which you are able is magnetic, Monica. It's magnetic. It's like a magnet. And it will attract people to you so quickly that in 60 days, your life will change. And if your life is not even a little bit less nervous about relationship in 60 days, if you tell me, Neil, I tried this for 60 days and I am still nervous about relationship, I will say to you, liar, liar, pants on fire. Because it can't be true. It simply can't be true. What it takes to lose our fear of being in relationship is losing our idea about why we would do it and grabbing a new idea about why we would do it. I want to repeat what I said earlier today, Monica, so we can make the point more directly. When I was a young man, I used to think about why I would want to enter a relationship with another person. In my case, a woman, because I was attracted to females. Why would I do that? And I would think of all the things I could get out of the relationship: sex, companionship, humor, someone to listen to me, someone to hear me, maybe even make a nice little meal now and then. Who knows? Someone to be with, so I wouldn't have to be alone anymore. All the things I used to think about that I could get out of the relationship. And then I changed my mind about why to even be in a relationship. That it had nothing to do with what I could get from it, but what I could give to it. So it's kind of like, we're both adults here. How old are you?
40.
You're what?
40.
40? You're 40 years old?
Yeah. 1980.
That's ridiculous. Okay, so we're both adults here, so we can talk to each other like adults. It's like having a physical romantic encounter. When I was a young man, 23, 21, whatever, and I would get into a sexual moment with a lady, I would think, what can I get out of it? I mean, I was involved in the experience to see what I could get out of it. And I expected and hoped that the woman would give herself to me. But somewhere around the age, it took me a long time because I'm a slow learner, but somewhere around the age of 52 or 53, after I had my conversation with God, I realized, oh, let me see. The purpose of getting into a sexual experience is not to see what I can get out of it. I'm not there to get anything out of it. I'm there to give all that I can give to it, to be not the receiver, but the provider of the ultimate in sexual joy. When I changed my idea about what I was doing, how many women do you think wanted to be around me? A few, for sure. And I don't bring up that example to be indelicate or to be, off color. I'm bringing that up because I'm telling you that the sexual experience is all we're doing in all of life. It's just SEX, synergistic energy exchange. We are simply exchanging energy with each other, whether we're doing it in a physical, sexual way or in a metaphysical, spiritual way, or both at once. It's okay. But that's all that's going on. And now that I understand why I'm interacting with another person in any way, sexually, spiritually, economically, in a business relationship or whatever, why am I going to the coffee shop and getting involved with the person at the coffee shop? Because I want to get a cup of coffee? No, no, no. That's just what I'm doing. That's just what I am doing. But what am I being while I'm doing the thing called get a cup of coffee? What am I being? Am I being the person who I've promised I will make your life better today because I moved through it? I promise. If that's how I'm being in the coffee shop, I promise you, after 2 weeks, that coffee person will say, I'm one of their favorite customers, because I will find a way to make the moment that we share, if all I'm doing is ordering coffee and taking it from them, I will find a way to make every moment that we share a moment that returns them to themselves, that gives them back to themselves, that gives them the gift of being seen and loved, one human to another. My dear, this is a can't fail formula.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you will no longer feel nervous about getting into a relationship because you don't want anything from it. You don't need anything from it. You're not there to get anything. You're there to give everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Michelle, how may I be of service to you?
Hi, Neil. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Michelle. Thank you.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you definitely won't remember me because the last time I spoke to you was in 2013. So that was quite some time ago, but I came to
No.
your
It's 2013, August the 14th at 2:33 in the afternoon. I remember it well.
Oh no, it was your April
No, I meant to
retreat
say April.
for
Yeah, I'm sorry. I knew it started with an A. It was April 14th at 2:37 in the afternoon.
But yeah, I came to your retreat in Medford, and you actually insisted on reading my book, which, funnily enough, was about twin flames. So that was quite funny, the conversation a little bit earlier with Saeed about twin flames. But yeah, obviously I've been reading your books for a very long time, and yeah, I seem to be in a sort of cycle of a relationship where it's been going on for about 10 years, and I would consider us to be what you would call twin flames, which makes it more difficult to actually to come to a resolution. But essentially, we're in the cycle of getting on and off the merry-go-round, if you like. So, you know, when we're together, it's great, but pretty regularly he gets to the point where he decides that he wants to have some space and push me away. So I go off and start my life all over again. And then at some point, somehow we gravitate back towards each other again. And then we start the cycle all over again. And
how does that work for you?
Well, it doesn't, obviously. Hence, really, really needing to break this cycle. And I thought the last time we went our separate ways that it was definitely the end, because I really, really did hate him at that point. It was, you know, the situation of the way it ended was pretty bad, and yet I didn't want to be in that space of hating him, because that's not, you know, it's not a healthy space to be. I was in an angry space, and I realized that through that particular breakup, I had actually healed myself of a fear I had of what other people thought of me. Because I'd sort of discovered that he perhaps wasn't portraying me in a very nice way to other people. And I was angry about that. I was angry that he was portraying me in a way that wasn't me, that wasn't real. And there was a combination of two things, and one of them was reading The Little Soul in the Sun again, because I know it's a children's book, but I love that story. And I recognized that, you know, we are those two souls who have promised to each other that we will do these things on Earth to help each other. And I also watched The Shack, the movie of The Shack, because I'd read the book years ago, and I watched the movie, and those two things helped me to get to the point of forgiving him completely. And my anger disappeared, and everything just became calm. And I decided that actually he'd helped me to overcome my fear of what people thought of me. I genuinely got to the point where I didn't care what anybody thought of me. I could do anything, which is quite useful, because obviously I'm writing books and I'm putting myself out there, and, you know, you open yourself up, as you know, to people trolling you and all sorts of stuff. And that used to be a big fear of mine, to to put myself out there and to have these kinds of comments directed at me. That was a fear, and I don't have that fear anymore. I invite I invite the haters, bring it on. I really don't mind. So that I felt was a really good thing. So anyway, I got to the point of forgiving him. I got to the point of moving on, and then inevitably a few months later we gravitate back towards each other, and 2.5 years later we're still together, but we're heading in the same cycle yet again. And after 10.5 years, it's really time to properly get off the merry-go-round. But I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to get far enough. I mean, I've moved to, 5 hours away to a whole different city. I've moved home more than 20 times in the last 10 years. So I would like to be in one place for more than 5 minutes. And I would, yeah, the only thing that's lacking from my life at the moment is that stability. So yes, help.
What is it that continues to cause you to separate from each other? If I heard you correctly, I thought I got the impression that in almost every case, he's the one who needs some space and wants to create separation once again. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
Or he'll do something to make me want to leave.
Well, that's a little different. You mean he'll have an affair with somebody else?
Not always to that extent, but yeah, he will make me feel like I have to leave.
What could make you feel like you have to leave if you don't want to leave? Does he throw a chocolate cream pie in your face every morning at 10 o'clock?
I wish he would. No, it always comes back down to the classic kind of, he just says something just doesn't quite feel right, and I think, we should part ways, and it never kind of goes beyond that. And yet when we're together and everything's fine, it's great. That's the thing, it's great in every other way other than this cycle.
And he's apparently okay with this cycle.
Well, I've obviously tried to kind of get us beyond that cycle, and each time it's not like
he is okay.
Yeah. I mean, each time we do change, we do evolve, we do learn more things, and things do shift. And I'm not saying that it's been a waste of 10 years because we've got nowhere, because I know we've both changed a lot in that time. But this one particular feeling that he has about it not being right has just not changed.
Well, you're making me curious as anything. When he says something just doesn't feel quite right, what does he answer when you say, well, what do you mean? Give me an example. What doesn't feel quite right?
He doesn't know. This is what's so frustrating. And I've tried to get to the bottom of that. I'm like, aren't you even curious as to why? What is this feeling? And I've got an analytical kind of overthinking, I will figure something out. But with him, it's just, he just bases a decision or an action on a feeling, and that's as far as it goes. So he won't pick it to pieces and find out what the feeling means. It's just, I feel this way, so I do this.
Typically, how much time passes between his leaving, the departure, and you finding your way back to each other again? 3 days, 3 months, 3 years? Typically, how much time?
Well, the first time was 4 days. Sometimes it's a few days to a week, and then the longest we've been apart from each other is over a year.
You mean an entire year?
Yeah, nearly. Okay, about 8 months, 7 to 8 months.
Okay, and that's the most recent time?
So 2.5 years ago, we split up sort of properly in the October, and then got back together the following August. So that's longer than 8 months. Yeah, that's.
How do you wind up getting back? I'm curious. This is an important question for me. How do you wind up getting back together? The phone rings and he calls you?
Yeah, he always reaches back out. He's always the one that reaches back out. Yeah. So I could be, I know we've dated other people, we've been with other people in those times. We haven't, I've gone off, I've met other people, he's met other people. I've done.
Even when it was only 4 days, you dated other people in the 4 days?
No, when it was longer.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Not that fast moving.
I just want to get things straight here.
Yeah.
So when you're apart for a few weeks, you wind up dating other people. So when he called you the last time and said, hey, let's get back together again or whatever, What made you say yes? You've dated other people and you can't find anyone who treats you as badly as he does? I mean, as well as he does?
um, well, actually, the last time he happened to message while I was just on a really bad first date with someone, so that probably didn't really help. Um, Obviously, not great timing, well, on his part, and to be honest, it wasn't sort of, hey, let's get back together. It's never that sort of straightforward. It was very much sort of like, just sort of reaching out, and it just, I mean, to be honest, the last time we got back together, and obviously my friends and family have been through this with me many times as well. It's gotten to the point where it's like, I don't want to actually talk to them about it because, it's a lot, because it is a massive kind of drama every time. It's not like I've got used to it, because every time I still get back into this thing of like, this is going to be different. But the last time, yeah, so we got back together. Well, we started seeing each other again in the August, and I was thinking, oh, this is just a short-term thing. It's not going to last. It's going to be the same as last time. It's just a bit of fun. We're not going down that road again. So it was actually more than 6 months before I actually told anybody that we were seeing each other again. In fact, my mom didn't even know until Christmas, and that was only because I was going to spend Christmas with him, and I thought I'd better tell her where I was. So I genuinely, I didn't want to take everybody back through that again, because it's getting to the point of, my closest friends who don't want to see me in that kind of situation over and over are just like, for goodness sake, get away.
Yeah, but you got back with him because you wanted to. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the thing. It's never about me not wanting to be with him.
Okay,
That's
so
never
if you're getting what you want, what's the problem? Why don't you just
The problem
allow it to
is
be?
that
Why don't you just allow it to be an on again, off again, on again, off again relationship for the rest of your life until you're 97?
because being nomadic pretty much for the last 10 years is just getting tiring. My needs of, my need for the stability of actually living in one place for more than 5 minutes is overriding what I'm getting out of the relationship.
Well, then why do you get back with him then? Why don't you just say, no, my need to be stable in one place is greater than my joy in being with you again. So, I'm not going to do that anymore. Well, why don't you do that?
Because I have done that several times, and every time I move away, or every time I end up in a situation where I end up back here. And sometimes it's only meant to be like I'm staying for a couple of weeks, or I'm staying until I can find another place. And I'm not trying to make any excuses, but he happens to live in an area where there's very little to rent. It's a sort of tourist area. People don't rent out sort of places. And so it's actually quite difficult to find anywhere to live in the nearby area. To have that kind of, and also the last 3 places I lived in were supposed to be long term, and then the landlords changed their mind, etc., etc. It's just, but yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, I end up back here, and then when we get into the situation, I've then obviously got to move out again, and I've gone past the point of being able to fit all my possessions in my car. So it's a little bit more difficult to actually just pack up and leave.
Why don't you pack up and leave and find a place of your own?
I have done that several times.
I mean, you will have always.
Because I don't have the financial ability to purchase anything. I don't. Renting.
Do you have the ability to rent from somebody, forever?
Only at this moment, I'm only sort of renting like a room sort of situation. I don't have the money up front. I write books, I do freelance work. I don't have a full-time sort of high-paying job, and I've been self-employed for 10 years, so I don't have that kind of financial backing. And in fact, my finances have been terrible up until about 3 years ago, when I finally started getting myself back on track again. So yeah, renting isn't a problem. It's finding somewhere to rent. And then if I rent in this area, then we'd still end up seeing each other, but I don't want a sort of half-assed relationship. I kind of want to be with somebody or not. But then if I move out of this area, which I've done several times before, This is kind of the only area that I've really felt like I was at home. I've got a lot of friends in this area. I've got work in this area. I've kind of built my
I
life
wouldn't,
in this
if
area.
I were you, I would not let his relationship with you determine what area in which you live. I would stay where I am and refuse to leave the area.
Mm.
And if it means you see each other once in a while, or, you know, there's this dynamic between you that goes on, so what? Then you see each other once in a while. And if it turns out that he wants to be with you again, I mean, when he is with you, do you live together?
Only, I mean, the circumstance of this time was just because I was halfway moving into a place, and then the landlord had the situation and asked me to leave again. I haven't been particularly lucky in finding somewhere long term to rent.
Yeah, but I mean,
in this
for the past
area.
2.5 years until this latest departure, you lived together in the same place?
No, only since last July, because that was when I was trying to move again.
Why were you trying to move again last July? Oh, because the landlord needed you to move.
Just landlords and then housemates, and then yeah. So each time I move somewhere with the view of it being told it's a long term, I can stay as long as I want. Something kind of always changes, and yeah.
So, but you guys do not typically, when you've been together for 10 years, but you have not lived together. You've been dating, each in your own different place?
Yeah, I mean, I've lived here, probably the longest I lived here was about a year in that time. But I've either had jobs away or I've lived somewhere else, or yeah, it's kind of been on off, but we haven't lived together like that whole time now.
Well, if he ever contacts you again, I'm not sure. If you like living in the area where you're living, I wouldn't leave. If I were you, I would say no. No, I'm not going to do this again. I like living in the area where I'm living, and this is where I'm going to stay. But if he says, you know, I'd like to try it again and get together again, if it were me, I'd say, no, I'm not going to play that game. We're not doing that. And there's only one way that I would ever take up with you again. There's only one way that I would ever lie down with you again, spend time with you again, be together with you again. There's only one way. It's called marriage. Either you're going to marry me or you're just simply going to know me as a person in town. I'm a person in town that you know because I'm done playing the way you play in a relationship. Even as much as I love you and as much as I enjoy being together with you, which I do, I wouldn't do it. But, you know, I've made a decision that what's more important to me in my life is stability. And that's just a decision that I've made. So I'll tell you how it looks if you want to be with me again. It looks like this. You put a ring on my finger. And then if you leave me, we'll get a divorce and we'll be very clear that we'll never be together again. Because I promise you, I will take you for all you're worth.
Oh, well, that's why you won't get married.
You know what? That's all I need to hear. You know, when my darling met me, excuse me, I don't know how to say this without sounding gauche, but I'm going to be gauche. I was an old guy with a lot of money. I mean, not a little money, a lot of money. I sold millions of books. So, but if I was a guy who thought, you know, I can't marry you because you could take me for all I'm worth, if that would be the critical factor in whether I'd marry her, that's all she needs to know. Holy cow, really? So your net worth is worth more to you than spending a life with me? Well, then watch my hand. Bye-bye. So when you said that a minute ago, my mind went, wow, that never even occurred to me. And here was, by the way, it occurred to everybody else. You need to know that. Everybody else said, Neil, she's 30 years younger than you. She's just looking for an old rich guy to take care of her. You're just, you're just a sugar daddy. But I got pretty clear. And we used to have conversations like that. I used to say, can I just ask you a hypothetical question? She'd say, sure. I say, if I was just a guy, unemployed or working at the local gas station, pumping gas, and that was it. That's if that's, would you still want to spend the rest of your life with me? She would look at me and say, Neil, if you were living in a tent in an open field with no home, I would want to spend my life with you. I like and I love you, not what you have. But you either believe that or you don't. If you don't believe it, we're done. So I would be saying to this man, if he ever makes an overture again, let's get back together again, I would say, marriage or nothing. And if you think that I want to marry you because I'm trying to get what you got, then I can understand why it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. I can't even explain why it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. But as long as we're together and I get what I want out of the relationship, then it feels good. But I would have a long talk with this person. I would dare the two of you, if he ever comes your way again and says, could we just, maybe give it a try? What do you think about getting back together again? Just, on a casual basis. I would say, I know an old man who lives in Oregon who wants to talk to you. He wants to talk to us. And he wants us to get clear. Why are we doing this to each other? Why am I, this is Michelle, why am I, Michelle, letting this happen to me? Why am I doing that? Michelle, surely you know that you're on a scale of intelligence, 1 to 10, where would you place yourself?
Well, solid 8.
Okay, on a scale of compassion and generosity as a person, where would you place yourself on a 1 to 10?
Probably more of a 9.
On a scale of spiritual awareness and, really rich desire to live a spiritually evolved life, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place yourself?
Around an 8 again.
On a scale of something as shallow as simple physical beauty, where would you place yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? On a scale of 1 to 10, how beautiful are you?
I'd give myself a 7.
Okay. That's nonsense and you know it. In fact, most of the numbers you gave me are nonsense. You're probably at a 9 or a 9.5 on every one of those measurements. And you know what's interesting? You know it. When you're honest with yourself and not trying to make sure that you're not boasting or make sure that you're not overestimating, but when you really in the dead of night are honest with yourself, you know who you are. You're a wonderful, compassionate, deeply caring, incredibly emotionally generous, kind and forgiving, and beautiful, physically beautiful person. That's who you are. And I invite you to embrace the truth of that And allow yourself to notice that. Did you tell me how old you are?
No. Guess, it's funny.
You're 20?
No.
How old are you, Eddie?
37.
Okay. You've got 35 or 40 more years, at least, of fruitful, joyous, fulfilling, and expanding life to live. And that's if you just live as long as I am now, as old as I am now. If you live longer than I am old right now, you'll have even more than 35 or 40 years. You are now being offered an opportunity by life to decide, to really make an important decision. Why am I here? What am I doing on the earth? And how do I choose to experience and express myself in the next 40 years? And by the way, I'm not saying that the way you guys do on and off again, on again, off again is bad. Maybe you should just say, let's just do that. I'm happy to do that. A few months apart, a few months together, a year and a half apart, a year and a half together. That's fine. I can do that. So I don't have a value judgment about it. But if you came to me and said, no, Neil, you don't understand. I, Michelle, am not happy with that. Then I would say to you, prove it. Prove it. But if you came to me a year and a half later and said, well, we did it again, he came back and we got back together again, then he left, and I'm not happy with that, I'd say, prove it. And then if you said, okay, I hear you, and then you did it again the third time, and you came back a third time, I'd say, you know what, Michelle? I'd say the same thing your family is saying to you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you because you don't even hear yourself. So you're lying to yourself. Apparently it is okay with you. Because if it's not okay.
It has been okay. It has been okay with me. I wouldn't have chosen to be back in this position if it wasn't okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now you get to decide what you want for the next 40 years of your life with regard to the experience called relationship. Because if what you say, no, let me tell you, if I said to you, Michelle, I want you to write out a piece of paper, get out a notebook out and write in your notebook what I choose to experience in relationship with a man. This is what I choose to experience. And describe the whole thing. Not just, what he does for a living or what color his eyes are or any of that stuff. Describe the whole thing. This is what I choose to experience in a man. I dare you to do that. And then I dare you to live up to it the next time the phone rings and it's this person who wants to make a reconnection. Unless what you decide is that's what I want in a man. I want a man who walks out every 24 months or sooner, depending on if it feels okay to him. If that's what you want, then do it. But if it's not what you want anymore, I understand that you wouldn't have done it in the past, but if it's not what you want anymore, then make a list. Get a notebook out and make what I want in a man, what I choose to have in a man. And for that matter, what I choose to have in my life. I mean, in other areas of my life, how I choose my life to be. Choosing the life of my choice, which is the title of your next book. Choosing the life of my choice. That can help other people to make a choice and then choose it. Because some of us make a choice and then we abandon our own choice. But you haven't done that. You made it clear that you wouldn't have done it in the past. If you didn't, okay, I got it. But now going forward, after you finish your worldwide bestseller, choosing what you choose or choosing your choice, after you have your international bestseller and you're making money hand over fist and you don't need to depend on anybody to buy a house or to even buy dinner, you can be totally your own person, then you can step into actually proving that what you choose is what you choose. and don't abandon yourself anymore. Unless you do. Unless, no, you know what? I thought about it. And I'd rather be with him for a few months than not be with him ever again. Great. Then call it what it is and let it be okay. Hate to be so simplistic, but that's what I want.
It's, yeah, I mean, I suppose the thing that, I suppose I've just struggled with is being able to say, no, I'm not going to, come back over. No, I'm not going to make that reconnection. I suppose it's my own inability to cut that cord and say, nope. Because,
go ahead.
Well, just because that pull has always been so strong, which is why.
Sweetheart, be candid with me. Is it a chemical, sexual thing? Is he just so good in bed that you can't stand being without him?
Well, there is that. But it's kind of everything. The whole, we do fit together in all different ways. In creativity, in how we live in general, how we can communicate with each other, because we do communicate with each other. We do have that.
Except when you ask him what doesn't feel good, then all of a sudden he can't communicate. He goes, well,
pretty much.
And you say, what, have you lost your ability to communicate? He goes, well, and I say, you know what? I can't hear you anymore. I can't hear you. Either we can continue to communicate as good as we do on every other subject, on this subject, or the subject is closed. Because we're not playing this anymore. I'm 37 years old. I'm an old woman. Look at the wrinkles on my face. And I'm not doing this anymore. Unless I am, in which case do it. But I refuse. If you and I continue to have a relationship as older brother, younger sister, if you and I continue to have a relationship as a spiritual mentor, I refuse to allow you to be the heroine and the victim of your own story. You're either going to be the hero or you're going to be the victim, but I won't let you be both. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's it's time I carried on writing my next book that I started.
Yes. When will it be done?
Then the next one should be out by the summer, because it's the 10-year anniversary of the first one that you read.
Okay, and you have finished it? You're done writing it?
Oh, no, I'll probably be finished writing it about 3 weeks before the publication date. That's my usual style.
Okay, so you're gonna finish it by, let's say, June 30th?
Oh, yeah, be done by then.
Okay. What's it called?
It doesn't actually have a title. It's at the moment just book 11 in the series. It was the Earth Angel series, and there was only going to be 10 books, and then the 11th book started coming through, so I figured I'd go with that. But
the what angel series? What angel?
The Earth Angel series. The first one was the Earth Angel Training Academy.
The F? Are you saying F Angel?
No, the Earth Angel.
Oh, the Earth Angel. The Earth Angel series.
Yeah, I was writing the third one when I met you in 2013 in Oregon. So yeah.
You told me you'd never tell anybody about that. But I understand. Okay, so you'll have your book finished by the end of June or before, and then you're going to put that book out, and you're going to give it a snappy title that'll make it just shoot right off the bookshelves and right off the online bookstore, shelves, and you're going to move into the living of the messages that you send. Michelle, I got to tell you, as we close our time together today, that the biggest challenge of my life is to live into what I write.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but at some point we have to decide to do it. At some point we have to decide, it's not okay for me just to say, okay, You can be a troll. Come on, you can come after me. It's all okay. At some time, I have to also say, oh, I got an idea. What if I actually demonstrate and live the message of my own books? There's a thought. Yeah.
My readers do often tell me that I need to reread my own books.
No
So,
kidding.
yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
that. Okay, I'm glad we had a chance to talk today.
Me too.
I'm sorry if I
Thank you.
didn't make you happier, but I have to talk to you like an older brother.
No, that's good because my older brother actually disowned me. So, hey, it's
No.
good to have another one. Yeah. Long story. He's a
All
strange
right.
being.
Well, stay close. You don't need to feel that you don't have an older brother. You have one right here. And my email address is neil@neildonaldwalsh.com. And I'm serious. Don't let yourself ever feel alone. I will not have it. I will not allow it.
Thank you.
Okay. Danielle, how may I be of service to you, Danielle?
Neil,
Yes, Danielle.
what do I need to do? I share screen? You
I
say,
did.
you know?
I didn't hear what you said.
I don't know how to. You don't see me now, do you?
No, because down in the lower, in the bottom of your screen, it says video. There you are. I see you now.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
So Danielle, how can I serve you today?
First, I'm.
You got great hair, Danielle. I'm sure you've heard that all your life. I'm sure everyone who's ever met you has told you that. So let me add myself to the list.
Thank you.
Danielle, how can I serve you?
First of all, I'm very touched by what's going on here. When I woke up this morning, I was feeling so terrible that I decided to join the course. I thought that this was the best thing I could do with my day.
And you were right.
I was right. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, I'm at a place in my life where business is over. My son is taking over. That transition is very, very difficult for me.
Well, then don't let it happen.
It's a choice. It's all right. It's enough.
Oh, okay. Then you are okay. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm very glad that my son is taking over and he's doing a perfect job. So
okay.
That's perfect.
Okay. Perfect. So That's not a problem.
No, no. And but since the month of, I've never been sick in my life, but since August I've been very sick. At times I thought I was going to die. I can cough and cough and cough, and it wouldn't go away. So that brought a lot of anxiety. And I'm in that place where, wow, who am I? Why am I here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Why are you? Okay.
Why
I don't
am
want to
I
cut you
here?
off. Yeah. What other questions? Why am I here? What's the point?
What's the point? Why, all that I did in the business world, I feel that I earned my living and I was raising all by myself my two children. That was perfect for that time. But my vision of how I would be getting at retirement was very different than what is happening now. I wanted to be a lady that I would be like 90 years old and still writing books. I never wrote a book, but I want to write a book. I want to contribute. I cannot think that all the experience and all the knowledge that I have now, I won't share it with someone. And it's amazing because I always felt that I could not speak. And the health problem that I have is that I can't speak. I cough and I can't sing anymore. So it's all in here. And I feel that it's all in here also because I want to talk and I don't feel that I'm allowed to talk.
You mean able to talk? Because your body won't allow you to do it?
Both. I think I think since when I was very young, I was told to shut up. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And I've been working for the last 2 years with my son. And, as much as I love him, our energy are so different that I had to, I felt that I had to shut up for who I was. Because, if I say that I'm feeling something, I'm someone who feels things. I see people and I know where they are. I know how they think. That's how I am. But for him, it doesn't make sense. So if I wake up in the morning and I say to him, okay, we need to call this client, he doesn't understand why I'm saying that we need to call this client. But most of the time, we need to call the client. It's just that I know. But so that was hard for me to work with him for 2 years because I felt that I could not listen to who I am. And that brought me back to how it was when I was at home with my father and my mother.
Yeah. And I hear that, and I have sympathy for it. I really do hear you, sweetheart. But what's also true is that was then, and this is now. That's over.
I agree.
So now, as we move forward, I need to ask you some questions. How old are you?
64.
Okay, and so you're still a very young person. I mean, at 77, you seem very young to me. I would love to be 64 again. I promise you. So at 77, I'm not impressed with, that you've somehow gotten too old to continue living your life the way you would like to. Now, the challenge, as I'm hearing you, is that you've been ill since August. Where do you live? Where do you live?
I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Okay, yeah, I know where Montreal is. So now, did the doctors tell you? I'm sure you've gone to see a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was difficult for me because my thinking is that sickness doesn't exist. If the body is given what is needed, we are made to be healthy. That's a natural thing. So going through the doctors who want to give me drugs and give me pumps and give me all kind of things, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't make sense for me. We're not correcting, what's going on with the body. So
okay.
I'm waiting for tests.
Yeah.
I'm working with doctors in the US to find other ways.
Okay, but just out of curiosity, what are the doctors who have talked to you telling you that you simply have a toothache, or what is it that are they giving you any clue at all as to what might be going on?
Oh, they started with the pumps for asthma. They gave me pills for allergies.
Yeah.
It's probably, what I understand now is probably like acid reflux that goes really through my throat and make me cough and cough. And, it's very irritated. So,
okay.
that moment. Yeah. Sometimes I wake up and I feel that I won't be able to breathe.
Yeah, Danielle, but here you are. So only one of two things can happen. You're either going to wake up and feel that you can't breathe, and you will actually, in fact, not get through the night, and you won't be here tomorrow, or you will be here tomorrow, and to move ahead with another day. Only one of two things can happen. So, but let me ask you this. I understand that you don't like to hear about allopathic medicine, and the body was meant to be, illness free, and I don't believe in illness. About 3 years ago, Danielle, I noticed I was having a really difficult time. I'm sorry to make this personal, but I want to share this for a reason. So I thought I was having a really difficult time all of a sudden. For about 4 or 5 months, it was getting worse every day. I couldn't breathe as easily as I wanted to. I was out of breath all the time. But then it got to be that no matter what I did, I mean, really, if I bent down to tie my shoes, it felt like a big deal. If I carried a bag of groceries in from the car, it felt like a really big deal, like I had just climbed to Mount Everest. So I finally, my darling said, you need to go see a doctor. And so I did, and I thought, well, just to see what they had to say. And they said, let's do an angiogram, which is a very simple test. It takes about 20 minutes. We did this 20-minute angiogram test, and he comes out of the room and he says, you need open heart surgery. I said, why? He said, my friend, 4 out of the major arteries of your heart are not functioning the way they should. 2 of them are blocked at about 25 or 30%. One of them is blocked at 40%, and the 4th artery is actually blocked at over 50% blocked. In other words, you're not getting oxygen to your heart. Not enough. Your heart is malfunctioning, and you're on, frankly, you're walking on thin ice. You're on thin ice here. You're a walking time bomb. You could have a heart attack any moment. You need open heart surgery. And I don't mean, sometime in the next year or two. I mean now. You need open heart surgery in the next month. If we can find a surgeon, and if we can find an operating suite that's not booked, we need to get you in there. And I said to the doctor, no, you don't understand. Health is the natural state of mind for the body. The body doesn't get sick. It's just not really the reality in which I live. So we're not going to have open heart surgery, and I decline your treatment. But thank you for the suggestion. I'm just not buying it. Did I make the right decision?
That's where I stand.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I misremembered. I had a memory lapse there for a minute. Actually, I said, you know more about these things than I do. I write books, you fix hearts. How long have you been a cardiac surgeon? He said, 38, 39, yeah, I've lost track, but somewhere 38 or 39 years. I said, are you good at what you do? He said, I think so. People tell me that he said, I want to brag, but you're asking me. I'm top rated with the American Cardiac Association. I'm a top rated cardiac surgeon. So let's do it. He said, good choice. So I went in and I had open heart surgery. My dear, I don't know whether you know what that's about, but they open your chest from here down to here. Then they saw through with an actual saw. I'm not making this up. They have an actual saw, and they saw through your breastbone. And then they open your rib cage. Then they get into your heart and they stop your heart. They actually stop it from functioning for 4 hours. Your body is functioning on a machine for 4 or 5 hours. In the meantime, they take all the arteries that aren't working and they tie them off, and they find other arteries in your heart that are working, that are not clogged. They pull them out of your leg, they pull them out of your arm, they pull them out of your chest, and they put them in there and they graft them in. And then they close you up and they turn your heart on again and turn the machine off to see if it'll work. And by the way, if it doesn't work, if there's something that goes wrong or it doesn't quite fix it, you don't get off the table. And the surgeon made that very clear to me. He said, we've learned how to do these surgeries and we do them fairly well, but am I going to tell you that there's no chance that you could die in the operation? No, I'm not going to tell you that, because you might not survive. Choose. Do you want to live the way you've been living, or do you want to take the operation and take a chance? It's a pretty good chance, like a 95% success rate, but there's a 5% failure rate. I had the operation. It turned out remarkably successfully. He came in after the surgery to my recovery room and he said, "You know what, young man, you just bought yourself 10 years or more." And he said, "By the way, you didn't need a quadruple bypass. We miscalculated." I said, "Oh, I only needed like a triple bypass or a double bypass." He said, No. We miscalculated on the low end. You didn't need a quadruple bypass. You needed a quintuple bypass. The fifth artery to your heart was 93% blocked. You were a walking time bomb. But congratulations. You made a good decision, and you just bought yourself 10 years, minimally. I said, "Is this going to help me feel better?" He said, "Help you feel better? You're going to feel 20 years younger." 4 weeks later, 4 weeks after this open heart surgery, I was in Spain delivering a week-long workshop, doing my work in the world again. I have never felt so good in my life as I have felt the past 3 years. But you know what? Modern medicine has nothing to offer. I've nothing to offer. I believe that the body can heal itself, and if I would just get my thinking straight, I could have solved. Or wait a minute. Maybe one of the miracles that I have called forth was modern medicine. Interesting. So I didn't come here today to disabuse you of your notion. I didn't come here today to change your mind. I came here today to offer you an opportunity to look at the whole thing.
But I'm going, Neil. I have my appointment for an endoscopy so that they can go inside. But I'm waiting because of the COVID. I've not been called.
Yeah, but so we have a non-problem here then. We have a non-problem. The challenge is non-existent. There's nothing going on. You've retired, and your son is doing a wonderful job, and he's taking care of business really well. So that's not a problem. No. You are going to move forward in your life. You're going to take whatever medical advice that is given to you, and you're going to do what the doctors suggest you should do, and you're going to feel a lot better because of it. So that's not a problem. You're going to start writing. And now, by the way, I've noticed you haven't coughed once since we've been talking. So when you say, I'm sorry?
I haven't been coughing since this morning.
Well, terrific, because you knew you'd be on the telephone with me and you didn't want to have to cough all the way through it so that you could prove your point. But I do understand that you want to be able to continue contributing in your life. That part I understand. That part I'm not making fun of and I'm not questioning. I totally get it. So write your book. You don't even have to, you know what I discovered? Excuse me. I want to share some really important news with you, Danielle. You can write a book and cough at the same time.
Especially if it's about health.
Hello. So there's no reason that you cannot live a life in which you continue to contribute and contribute importantly to the lives of others. And so I'm not convinced that even though you've been sick since August, I almost want to say older brother to younger sister. Okay, I get it. You've been sick since August. I get it. So what? How is that stopping you from living the life you want to live? Neil, you don't understand. You don't understand. No, I understand perfectly. It actually is not stopping you from continuing to contribute in your life. Well, it may not be stopping me, but that's my story. Don't take my story away from me. Okay. So I expect your book to be done by, let's see, the 12th of September. I'll give you a long time. I usually write a book in 6 or 7 weeks. But if you need 6 or 7 months, I would expect your book to be on my desk on the 15th of September. And I want it to be a wonderfully written book that really contributes, truly contributes to the well-being and to the lives of others. And then by that time, you will have also probably solved, and by that time, you will probably have also solved the majority of your physical challenges, moved through them, moved past them, because you listen to the doctors who are advising you, and you will sidestep the notion, oh, all they want to do is give me drugs. All they want to do is give me pharmaceuticals. And you'll see if maybe there is a single drug. I take 2 pills every day since my open heart surgery. You couldn't stop me from taking those 2 pills every day because I've never felt better in my life. I don't have a hang up that I'm, somehow addicted to pharmaceuticals? No. I see my cardiologist every 3 months, and he takes a look at me and listens to my heart and takes all the measurements he takes and lets me know whether I should continue on the medicine or not. And I listen to him. You know why? Because I write books, and he heals hearts. It's really quite simple. So next September, you'll have your book finished, and it will become a really good seller. And then you will be able to even give a few talks on the internet. You can record them ahead of time. The beauty of this process we're now having is I record, in fact, the day after tomorrow, or I guess it's Tuesday. Tuesday, I'll be recording a 90-minute talk to be replayed at a conference in London. And it's not the first time I've done that. I do that on a regular basis. Record a talk ahead of time. So even if I have to cough in the middle, the editor just edits it out. It's not a big deal. It's, read my lips, not a big deal. And I refuse to let someone with your intelligence, with your understanding, with your clarity, with your gifts, with your power, and with all you have to offer, I refuse to sit here and let you talk to yourself and convince yourself that you can't do it because you've been sick since August. Sorry, ain't buying it. And if I was your older brother, I would tell it to you straight instead of talking to you so carefully as I have been doing. That was a joke, Danielle. That was a joke. I haven't been talking to you carefully. You got way too much to offer. Your life is nowhere near over. Get in there and play. And even if your body is challenging your notion about health.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, but you know what? It's okay. Let your body challenge your notion about health. But let your soul never give up its reason for being here. To announce and to declare, to express and to fulfill, to become and to experience who you really are.
Okay, Neil, how can I can do what you suggested earlier with that sentence because it really resonated with me.
Yes, wonderful.
I love that because
yes.
How would I say that? I was able to start that business, but it was very, it was very
Challenging?
no, I mean, it was very business-like.
Oh,
It
sure,
was
yeah.
very feminine. It was very, I was putting group insurance in companies. But now all those people in companies who are very sick, yeah, and take a lot of drugs. So there's a lot to be offered through a change in food. And that's where I'm going. So that's why I'm so mad and sad that I cannot buy, and I'm
Yeah.
working. That's why I was saying I'm working with doctors in the United States, doctors that are 87 years old, that have been doing that all their lives, to see how we can transform the body so that it becomes healthier through food. Like Hippocrates was saying, food should be our medicine. That's my confusion, and
What is the confusion? You seem to be very clear to me. What's the confusion?
yeah, I am very clear with me. I'm not so sure because I don't think I would be sick if I was so clear. But
Oh, yeah, I understand. Physician, heal thyself. Did you ever hear that?
physician healed, yeah.
You ever hear that? Physician, heal thyself.
Well,
So I listen, my dear. No one has to talk to me about what it feels like to be holding a belief and sharing a message and then not experiencing it in my own life.
mhm.
I can't even tell you the number of evenings I've sat across the room from my darling wife and said to her, if what I'm saying is so accurate, why am I not living it?
Yeah. And that's where I feel that I'm cheating.
I know, I understand. I totally understand. Only now, in my case, I'm lucky enough to have a spouse who sits across the room from me and says, Neil, you may not be living it at 100%. You may not be living it at the level that you wish inside of your own heart and mind that you were, but let me tell you that you are living it at a higher level than anyone I have ever had a personal experience of. You are living it at the level that you are, and you're a walking demonstration to everyone whose life you touch. I don't know how much more you can expect from yourself, but are there going to be ways in which maybe you're not even living up to your own messages? Sure, there will, because your messages are challenging for everybody, including yourself.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's okay. As I said earlier today to somebody else, we teach what we have to learn.
To learn.
So, my dear, step into the living of it. Let modern medicine, whatever it offers, even if it's a pharmaceutical, if the doctor genuinely feels that it could be helpful, at least in the short term, who knows?
I have no problem with that.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Then we have a non-problem here.
Okay.
We have a non-problem.
Okay.
We're just waiting for your damn book to come out. Hurry up.
Right. So because all my energy has been on that.
Yeah, no.
I am sick and I cannot do anything.
No, that's not true. You could start writing your book this evening as soon as we get off the air.
I am bored. I am bored with myself.
Wow, do I ever hear that? I understand exactly what you're saying, but your boredom is over. You're going to finish this book. If you really had a deadline, how soon do you think you could finish it?
Well, I would write a course. I would start with a course, and I probably with February, June latest.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay. If you finish it by June 1st, and if it serves you, only if it serves you, if you finish it by June 1st, I will write the foreword. And then you can send it to a publisher with a foreword by Neil Donald Walsh.
Oh, yeah.
Not that it's a big deal, but it sells a few books.
Well, yeah, it helps.
So that's your incentive. But I'm telling you, if it's June the 2nd, it ain't happening. The deal is off. The deal is off.
Okay.
You can beg all you want. Neil, it's only 1 day late. Sorry, we had a deal. But it's only 4 hours late. Sorry, we had a deal. So it's either by midnight on June 1st or the deal is off.
Okay.
Because I refuse to let you sit there and be bored while we are waiting for your wisdom. No, my dear, your life is not about you. Excuse me. Your life is not about focusing on you. How dare you be bored while I'm sitting here waiting with bated breath to hear what you have to say? No, we're not doing that. We're not going there. We're going to re-energize you and cause you to be reawakened to what you have to offer in the next 25 years of your life.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. And we'll see you in our next retreat, and you can report back in and tell me how you're doing with the book.
I will.
I'm excited about it. I want to see this. I want to see it. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coughing. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, me too. Neil, can I say, I'm so, I didn't think that it existed a place where we could have a seminar call, I don't know how you call it, with so much kindness and so much goodness and so much clarity, and I'm really very grateful.
Danielle, you're very generous and kind to say those things. Let me share with you, and all of you, by the way, we do this every Monday night for an hour. Every Monday night of my life,
Really?
we talk.
I didn't know.
Yes, we talk back and forth with people every Monday night in a place called the CWG Integration Program. If you look on the resource page, if I say resource page, do you know what I mean? The page where you found how to get here for this program?
Okay.
If you look on that resource page, you will find information about the CWG Integration Program. And every Monday evening at 5:30 Pacific Time, I do this same thing with people every Monday night.
Wow.
On any topic they want to talk about. Relationship, right livelihood, health, sexuality, parenting, job creation, whatever they want to talk about every Monday night. That goes for all of you. So all of you, because I refuse, just because I'm 77 going on 78, I refuse to lie down and call it game over.
No, and that's what I want to do.
Great.
There'll be a contribution up until my 98.
All right. Then we're both holding the same cards. All right. Yeah. Now we're together. Then I'll see you Monday night.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.